Welcome to some more Pogchamps 2. Today we see WagamamaTV against Connereatspants. WagamamaTV starts with the white pieces, and he's one of the more stronger players in the tournament, so I am expecting great things, especially faced up against Connereatspants, who in total has only really been playing chess for on chess.com like maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, whereas WagamamaTV has had the account for like 2 years. So there's a huge difference in experience. And that should also show on the chessboard. You see the move b5, which already kind of looks very silly, but the truth is it's actually not horrible. It's stopping the move c4, which can get very annoying, and it's also maybe preparing the move bishop b7, so it's not a horrible move by Connereatspants. And here, both players try to get, one player tries to get out all of his pieces, so he gets out the bishop, and in this scenario, I would recommend trying to maybe, focus on getting out some other pieces as well, which is what he does. He starts getting out some of his other pieces. You see that this is something that also happened in the previous game where Connereatspants participated in, where he tries to kind of get his rook activated in a very weird way. Maybe that's because he honestly just doesn't know how to castle, and so he doesn't know that that's probably the best way to activate the rook. But maybe also just because he feels like he wants to slide the rook right in. So he actually attempts to do this right now, not realizing that the bishop can simply take. And here there's already a very tricky move, which is knight over here to e5, baiting the move f6, which just runs into mate. So that's pretty funny. But instead of that, we see the move, we see the pawn move with e4, pushing the knight back. Usually pushing the knight back. In this case, Connereatspants just ignores it, and obviously Wagamama just takes some free pieces. There is a tactical idea, I believe. So taking here, forking these two pieces, bishop here, and now you win the knight. But instead of that, just simple castling. And that's not a huge deal here because it's not like he's playing with equal material, equal position, and against an equal player. He just has a huge advantage. So, winning every single thing is not as important in this game, which makes it more of kind of a lighter game for both of the players. So it isn't, as serious. Although here it actually does get very sharp, and this move is fantastic. You maybe can still take because after you lose the queen, you gain the queen. But then obviously the bishop is targeting here, so the rook moves back maybe. I don't know. It does get a little bit weird. But the knight here, I think, is a fantastic move. An alternative would have been moving the queen back. But I think taking here already shows some improvement. Realizing that this pin might be very useful for him. The queen moves to a horrible spot where it no longer defends the bishop. But instead of taking the bishop, Connereatspants takes this a2 pawn and obviously loses. Not only loses the knight, but also loses the queen after that because he tried to sacrifice the queen, I guess. And from here on out, the game kind of just continues going. But overall, it's just very hard for Black to come back from this, especially with not being able to understand how everything works well. And so Connereatspants just runs into mate. There is actually a way faster mate, which is this taking here, but instead Wagamama makes a bit of a longer mate, but it really truly does not matter. You can even take the bishop here, but whatever. It is mate nonetheless. And that is game 1. So Connereatspants has to play some wonderful chess in game 2 if he wants to have a chance to move on to the tiebreaker, but it doesn't look promising. Him already sacrificing a piece with g4. He attempts to take the bishop, but then runs into knight, just developing a knight and defending the bishop. But now he plays one of the best sacrifices I've ever seen in the history of Pogchamps. He tries to bait out the move h6 because now he can take the pawn. He's threatening to obviously take one of these pieces, so the king is motivated to take, but now you just have a fantastic continuation, a4. Yeah, that's what happened in the game. Whenever you sacrifice a piece, you obviously want to have a good continuation. Here, there's just nothing to continue with, so instead you definitely want to bring the piece back. But that's how the game continued. You can see that now Wagamama just takes full control of the center and also stops this move, which obviously from other games you've seen that Connereatspants loves to do, bringing his rook up in this weird way. He then sacrifices a knight in the center of the board, and then also moves over here to g2, allows the move h3, hitting the rook, and then rather than moving the rook, he plays his signature a3 with the rook move, And now the bishop just takes. He takes back, and then the bishop takes the other rook. He plays this really fantastic d4 move and runs into mate in just 2. So after 13 moves, game 2 has ended with mate on h1. Overall, I mean, Wagamama played great, but not that he had very challenging games. And I'm really interested to see how Wagamama does in the future, because he seems to be a very promising player. He's been playing some great chess in the past few matches, so hopefully that continues. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss more of these Pogchamps videos. And also make sure you check out my brand new website at www.chessley.org. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.